Good evening, Bulldog fans. I am your host, TJ Vickers. Joining alongside me, as always, is head coach Kyler Hall, and you are listening to the Coach's Show on River Country Sports. Coach Hall, thank you for joining us. Last Friday night was the season opener against Columbia. Unfortunately, the score did not go in our favor, a 42-6 loss. Let's start with your overall reaction for how the game went last Friday night.
Just disappointed in the way, just the way we handled a little bit of adversity once we came off of the lightning delay. I thought, for the most part, it seemed like our kids handled that relatively well. What was an hour, maybe hour or so. Um, then we came out and we got a first down, but then defensively, we just what we had talked about all week, even throughout the first quarter. If you keep everything in front, they don't have anything. Like, we were playing well against the run. We were getting pressure on the quarterback, but we knew the key for their offense was the big play, especially over the top. And we give up the one, which, all right, you get the one, it's still a ball game. But then we let that one turn into 3 quarters of just bad defense. And so that was the disappointing thing because I thought we had a good plan going in. But apparently I have not done a well enough job of making sure they know exactly what to do on the back end, assignment wise, keeping everything in front. So that was the thing that stung the most is I thought we could play with those guys. Now, granted, they're a good team, and they hats off to them. They made more plays. They won the game. But man, we made it really easy in that second quarter, and we just never responded. I mean, it's still a two possession game at halftime,
Sure.
and we played like we were down 5 touchdowns.
Well, going into before the rain delay, they did us some favors by dropping a
They did.
a
Yep.
long ball, but then we make the most of our long pass and we go up 6-0, and our defense is playing pretty well. We're doing what we need to do, but then man, that weather delay just really seemed to just suck all the air out of the team. So I guess kind of walk us through all that. Okay, the referee signals, hey, it's a lightning delay, it's a weather delay. Go back to your locker rooms. You're in the locker room for, like you said, about an hour, where then you can go out on the field and warm back up. So I guess kind of what was your process, what happened in the locker room, and then just getting us back out onto the field.
Yeah. So as soon as we got in there, we had them, sit down, get off your feet, just reminded them, all right, during this time, like physically, you've seen that we can play with them. And
Sure.
so now mentally, you've got to stay engaged, stay locked in, because we didn't know how long we were going to be in there. And so then at that point, got together with the coaches, and then we immediately went just over some defensive things, formation. We had missed a line a couple times in that first quarter. We went over that the one where they dropped it, but it got behind us, and just reemphasizing, man, we're in this coverage. Just stay deep, just keep it in front. And so just went over that. Got back with coaches, offense, got on the board. Um, and so then once we saw we were about 15, 20 minutes out, we get them up, we start stretching, you know, shoulder pads on, and that way once we hit the field, we're ready to go. But so again, I don't want to, like, they had to handle the same thing. So we're not going to sit here and make an excuse or blame the delay for us not playing well. We didn't play well because we went out, we didn't do our job, we weren't disciplined. But again, that starts with me and making sure that we're disciplined in what we do, our assignments. I didn't think we fought hard enough up front, especially on the offensive line, and we've told the guys those things. That's a senior heavy offensive line, which we expect to go out and play physical and compete. And granted, Columbia is very good up front, but we're better than what we showed, and so it was just, I think, even an eye opener. Like, all right, we have the pieces, but that's not enough just to say we have the pieces. We've got to go out and play together and play at the level that we are all capable of playing. And we just didn't do that, and we didn't respond to being down 2 scores. We gave up the one right before the half, which was very disappointing because at that point it would have been 14-6 going to the half. So we just, again, we made it very easy and gave that big cushion, which was very unavoidable. But there's one thing, and we told them back in camp, if we don't fix these things, we're going to have to learn the hard way. And so we learned the hard way. Unfortunately, first game, great opponent. it really set us up, moving forward. You know, we can always look back and reference this from the missed assignments, but also the quality of opponent that we played. And so now, watching the film and learn from it today, made the corrections, and now getting ready for Lafayette.
Well, even think about it, Coach. I think it was their second touchdown where it's a 4th and 14 or whatever, and it's he's almost all the way out of
Yes.
bounds, and just I truly believe if that's not a fourth down play,
Yeah.
he's not throwing that ball up like he did. So I mean, I guess credit to them for
Yeah.
just playmakers making plays, but I mean that was just especially heartbreaking to see like oh we've done everything right, we've got him in 4th and long, we've got him all the way outside in the pocket, and then just kind of throws it up, and their guy makes a play unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the situation there where our defensive end has to keep that contained, has to keep that guy inside the pocket, and if anything, lay out because he tripped right as he's getting to the sideline, and it gave the quarterback just enough space to get the ball off. And then on the back end, we didn't stay with the one receiver that ended up catching the ball. We let it get behind us. We didn't bat the ball down. We didn't go the highest point. So again, a lot of small coaching details that we didn't execute there. And again, when you put their athletes in a situation where they're going to go up and get it, they've got the guys to do it. But again, if we're in position and we don't do what we were supposed to do on the front end and the back end, then it's a turnover on downs. So again, those are the frustrating moments. As those plays were very avoidable and should have been in the favor of us.
On the offensive side of the ball, it seemed like after the first couple drives, it just was difficult to kind of get things going
Yeah.
for you guys. So, what did you see? Like, what adjustments did Columbia do after the first couple drives? Just what did you see from your offensive unit?
We never got the ground game going. And then once we got behind, now we become one dimensional. We become very predictable as far as we're going to throw the ball. And when you play a team like Columbia that's got great defensive linemen, speed on the back end, that becomes very hard to move the ball. So first and foremost, we have to establish the run game. Like that just has to be who we are. Not that we're not going to throw the ball because we have great receivers, we have great tight end, we have a quarterback that can get on the ball, but we've got to be meaner, nastier, and more disciplined up front. Um, that way, again, when it's a close game, the defense is playing the way we're supposed to play. We play complementary football. The granted points are going to be at a premium against a team like Columbia, but there's no reason that we shouldn't have moved the ball better. But it really came down to we never got the running game going, became one dimensional, and we saw they were teeing off on the quarterback and getting good pressure. So that's where we've got to be better up front is establishing early the run game.
Well, Coach, even in a difficult loss like this, were there any particular moments that stood up for you? I think Kyler Watson having 4 sacks, which, from what we understand, that is a single game record. It's tied with a bunch of other people, I'm assuming, but nonetheless, he had a great individual performance, had 4 sacks. I know even in a tough loss, it's kind of hard to to watch that film and digest what you saw, but now you've had a chance to kind of process last Friday night. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean that adds to the frustration of how the game played out is because we got after the quarterback. Like they never really had a clean pocket, whether it's Watson getting to him, and he probably had another 3 or 4 that he was close to getting.
Sure.
The run game, I thought we played the run well. They had some here and there, but nothing big like we had against Bishop Kenny. So again, it was the big plays that did us in. So there were a lot of good things that I saw. I thought Josh Johnson played a much better game than the previous week. I thought Bubba Lovett played maybe the best of anybody on the field defensively at corner. Played a smart game, played physical. He was good in his technique. And that kid just plays with high energy and high effort all the time. He's really a team favorite. I mean, that kid gets after it. Bubba's a great kid. So I thought he played well. And then, again, it's we keep saying it, but it's the big plays that we have got to find a way to eliminate those. Because when we do, and we can continue to get better against the run, we're going to be a good defense. But we do have some youth out there. We have some young kids that this is their first starting action or Friday night action. And so we've got to get them, and this is the standard that we have to play at. So it's there. The tools are there. We just got to get it done.
Turning the page to this upcoming week, we go on the road, we face Lafayette. What is something that is a big takeaway for you that you're trying to hone in on this week at practice?
mentally you better, and we said this in the field house after the game, you can't let Friday night beat you twice. So as bad as we played at times and the corrections we made today in film, like that's done. Like we're 0-1. Lake City got the victory, but now it's on to Lafayette. And if you go into Lafayette with your mind not right and ready to play, that's going to be a very tough ball game because they're going to be very well prepared. They're going to physically play tough. They're going to have a great game plan. It's going to be a huge environment. Everybody in the town is going to be there. I mean, we saw last year they came over here.
They traveled well.
They traveled well. They scored the first drive. Defensively, they got after it. And our kids, it took about 3 quarters to really get into the game mentally. So we have to step off the bus, ready to play mentally, physically. We've got to take over and be the dominant team that we can be. But this one's really big in between the years just because we've got to move past the loss. We're playing a team that's smaller than us, so you have the mental battle. Well, that's just Lafayette. They're a smaller team.
Sure.
And if you approach it that way, you're setting yourself up for a very long night because any given Friday night, any given Sunday, like you better show up ready to play. And Coach Edwards, they always have their kids ready, and they have a great athlete at quarterback that can extend plays, that can throw it over the top, very physical running back. So it's going to be a great environment, and we mentally have to go in with everything that happened last Friday behind us.
Coach just gave you a little bit of preview for this upcoming Lafayette game. We'll get into our first commercial break. After that, we'll talk a little bit more about the Hornets.
No matter what's around the corner, we'll be there. That's why Farm Bureau Insurance has been a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
Local people, great rates, friendly service. That's the Farm Bureau Insurance promise. Farm Bureau Insurance, serving Florida for over 70 years. In Suwannee County, you'll find Farm Bureau in Branford and in Live Oak. In Branford on Drain Street, phone 935-1274. And in Live Oak on Dowling Avenue, call 362-1274. Farm Bureau Insurance.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Van Carpet One. For 78 years, we've been your local family-owned and operated floor covering store, and we can't wait to serve you. Let's go check out some of the stuff we've got and say hey to the guys.
Hey guys, this is Michael Van here at Van Carpet One. Wanted to show you our huge display of carpet. Got about 1,000 rolls for you that we can order. We also keep about 100 in stock that are on clearance, so please come down and give us a visit. We appreciate it.
Come in and see the largest tile collection in North Florida. Van Carpet One has every tile you could possibly imagine. If you can't find it here, they don't make it. Guys, take a look at this. This is just some of our options in waterproof vinyl plank where we have the largest selection anywhere around here, including over 70 pallets in stock, ready to go right now. Come in and see our fantastic selection of elegant hardwood too, followed up by fantastic service that you expect from a company like Van Carpet One.
Come on in and see us.
We can't wait to serve you. And that's a boom shakalaka.
And welcome back here to the Coach's Show. Coach, we're doing this show here on Monday night, so this has been your first day that you've had a chance to get back on the field after the Friday night results. Just what did you see from your energy and effort standpoint from your team today for practice?
When we stepped on the field, it was not good. We had a case of the Mondays, and we were still –
well, and they don't have school today, so I don't think that helps anything.
Those are the worst days. When they don't have school, we brought them in at 1 o'clock, got a lift in, watch film. So you go through the mistakes and the corrections and the coaching, which that's something that you have to learn to get used to as well as watching film and taking the coaching, getting the corrections. And so then we stepped on the field and we just no energy but we fixed that. We got the energy out. It was a long practice. It was a tough practice. It was a practice that hopefully makes you hate losing more. And I tell them all the time I'm a bad loser. I wish I was a better loser, but I'm a bad loser.
No, you don't. You don't want to be a better loser.
I know, exactly. And I want these kids I want them to hate losing. And so when you don't play the way you should, don't let it just linger. Be disappointed, be upset. Let's correct it and move forward. But you should be very disappointed in the way we played Friday. And you should be ready and amped up to get back on the field and make the corrections to get better and get ready for Lafayette. So it wasn't a great start to the practice, but it became a very tough, good practice.
So today was a professional development day for us as Swanee County School District employees, and you professionally developed your squad today.
We did. It was PD all around. We got the hours in. We got our signatures on the paper. It was a good day.
Coach, one thing when you were just talking about that, it made something come to my mind. You talk about having this new coaching staff, or not necessarily the new coaching staff, just the new pieces to this coaching staff, and having a fresh perspective. This has probably been your first week that you could really dive into film. I know you got Bishop Kenny and some other stuff over summer as well, but this was your first Friday night action to really dive into the game film. What did you notice, like, with the new set of eyes and just everyone's new fresh perspective that you maybe are glad to have a part of this coaching staff?
Yeah, so one, they are watching film. They are, not just watching the game, but seeing their position, seeing the mistakes, taking notes, bringing it to the meeting on Sunday, changing personnel where it needs to be, changing scheme where it needs to be, bringing up just a different way to look at things, a different way to do things, ways we can be more efficient. So that's what I have been very impressed so far with the staff is they're all working. They're not just on the sideline wearing the shirt. Like they're coaching, they're correcting. But as I told them, like, this is on us to get this fixed. Like, yes, the players have to go out and play, but we've got to put them in the position to be successful. We got to make sure they're playing hard and understand why to play hard. Make sure they understand their assignments. So this group has been doing it, as well as getting young guys ready for JV. So I don't like the PD days just because you're not with them all day, so you don't know what they do from morning till noon, which they probably stay up all night and get up at 11:30.
I think it's a 3-day weekend when really
Exactly.
it's really not.
Yeah, but I did appreciate the way they came into the meeting on Sunday. Even after the game Friday, we met right there at the in my office and just kind of hash some things out. Watch fresh, and then you watch film on Saturday, make the corrections, grade it, and then we get ready on Sunday.
So turning the page to the Lafayette Hornets, a very tough physical team. They really gave us a lot of trouble last year. They're in the doghouse. Now, of course, they get the chance to return the favor this year as we're traveling to them this Friday night. What stands out from you watching this team on film?
Again, the quarterback, he was hurt a little bit last year, played sparingly. They put him at receiver, played quarterback a little bit, but he was not 100%. He's 100%, and, man, he can run. He can throw it down the field. Tight end's a big fella, number 15, number 1, big physical running back. Offensive line is not as big as Columbia, but they're disciplined. They're going to cut you. They're going to try to slow you down. They're going to give you some different looks. And, again, you got to think about – I don't believe, to my knowledge, that Swanee's ever played at Lafayette. I know they played in the spring game back in Coach Rogers' maybe first or second year. But I want to believe this is the first time we've played over there. So you just got to understand the environment that you're going to step into when you go over there. So, again, getting back to the mental preparation, being ready to play. And then defensively, they're not as explosive on film as what we saw against Columbia. Now, granted, that doesn't mean anything once we get on the field next Friday night. We have to go out and execute and do our job, establish the run game. But they're a team, again, that's going to be very well coached. They're not afraid of our guys, so they're not fearing Swanee when we come over there. So we have to go and establish early a dominant offensive line, dominant defensive line. But the quarterback is the key kind of to everything that they do. He starts at cornerback as well. So a really good athlete, and we got to make sure we have him contained and try to make other guys, force him to make plays.
It's very interesting, to go from week 1 to week 2 where, okay, like we talked about last coach's show, you don't have to get ready for Columbia.
Right.
If we got to get ready for Columbia, we've already lost.
Yeah.
More than likely. But, it's interesting going from the hunted from the hunters to the hunted now, where with Lafayette, where it's almost like the shoes on the other foot, where it's like, okay, now we need to make sure we're up and ready to go because, okay, it's easy to have the letdown of, okay, this isn't Columbia, this isn't that, but you got to come ready to play nonetheless, Coach. And I think last year's game probably was a good indication of that.
Yeah, you do. Because the following week we have Madison, and then we have Gobby. And as we told our kids early on, we can't afford to look past anybody. Like there's no like the way our schedule's set up. It's literally a 1 day, 1 week at a time type of thing. We got to go take care of Lafayette. Like we have to go over and win this game. It's important for us to go out and fix the mistakes that we had last week. Go out and execute, have a cleaner game. We've got to cut out penalties. Special teams was very disappointing. We had a block kick. We had a block punt. We gave a big kickoff return. We had a substitution error. So we played very sloppily special teams. We've got to clean up all of that. And that alone, just the cleanup and the corrections will make us play much better. Because if you go in and you give Lafayette confidence and you play sloppy and you have some mistakes and you have some turnovers, man, that's where it becomes a game that you don't want to be a part of. So we've got to establish early the dominance in the game. But that, again, the mindset is going to play such a huge part of that.
And I think in the opposite respect, Coach, they probably would be okay with it being a rock fight. They're probably okay. Yeah, come on, let's
They're
drag
not
you down
afraid
to
of
the
that.
mud. Let's bring you down to our level, for
Yeah.
lack of better terms, you know.
Yeah,
but let's bring you down to our level and let's see what you got.
For sure. You know, they're coming off of a relatively easy win against Dixie County. I mean, they handled Dixie County. So they're pretty fresh. You know, they probably were able to pull some starters out in the second half. So they're going to be rested, fresh, and ready to go. They're coming off of a win. I don't care who you beat. When you come off of a win, you feel good, like you feel confident. So we're it's two different teams and two different scenarios. But once that ball is kicked, man, it's go time, and our guys better step off ready to go, ready to play.
I know you talked about the quarterback and the challenges he presents. What other kind of challenges do you expect from them offensively and defensively?
They're going to running game is where I think they're going to try to establish it. They brought out a little bit different scheme last year, so they're going to have some wrinkle that we didn't see last week. Just with his ability to run, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some type of option look because number one is a big physical running back. I mean, he gets downhill, loves contact. So that's where I think they're going to establish it. They're going to have some wrinkles, reverse, trick play, whatever you want to call it. They'll have something that we haven't seen. So, again, us playing discipline, keeping everything in front. And then defensively, they're a 3-3 stack. So, blitzes can come from any and every direction. I think I did see they have some guys out this past week, so wouldn't be surprised if they're back. So, they'll have some better players that maybe were out last week. But, again, it's this week, and I know it's kind of coach talk, but this is really about us cleaning up our mistakes defensively and giving up the big plays, and then offensively establishing the run game, and then hitting these big plays that we can get in the passing game.
Who are some players you're looking to step up, whether from a leadership standpoint or just playmaking on the field Friday nights? Who are some guys that you maybe pulled aside and said, hey, you know, we know this wasn't our best effort. You know this wasn't your best effort, but let's turn the page and let's get to it.
Yep, Sykes has got to play better, and Sykes has got to step out and lead out in front. Like, he's a very talented quarterback. This kid's got Division I offers. Like, he has everything in a quarterback that you want. He can make all the throws. So I need him to be front and center and out and leading these guys, more of his voice. Our challenge is, man, when this is player-led, we're going to turn the page. And so we're continue to push those guys. And I think once these guys see one or two players doing it, then everybody kind of falls in line. And now you've got something special brewing. So Sykes is one I want to see really get going. Lou Jack, just with the offseason that he's had, I want to see him have a breakout game, like 100, 150, 200-yard type of game. Because then that, again, is going to open up everything else. It's going to make our receivers just that much more dangerous. We talked about Hunter Watson with him coming back. He's looked really good in the blocking scheme of things, but I want to see him catch it and get loose in the passing game. And then defensively, man, I want to see our secondary show up. Like, we've got to show up. I know we've got some younger guys. Kyle Brown's been banged up a little bit, but I want to see those guys play to their talent level. I thought our linebackers played better. Our front, played much better than we did against Bishop Kenny. So that back end of the secondary, we've got to show up.
You can't fake leadership, Coach. So,
Nope.
I know it's early in the season, and maybe with kind of, some of the older guys not on the team anymore. Maybe some guys are kind of finding their way, but do you see someone kind of gravitating towards that vocal leadership? Because you want it to be natural too. Like
Yeah,
if
you can't force it.
you know,
It's-
if you just lead by example kind
Yeah.
of guy, and don't really say too much, then you don't need to be the rah speech kind of guy.
Yeah.
But again, we're so early in the season. But what are you seeing from that leadership role?
Well, it's got to be authentic, and what we challenged our players today with, and even after the game, like leadership starts with self accountability. Like when you're trying to lead a group, you've got to make it known to them that, man, I'm part of this. I'm with you. Like, I'm not above you. I'm not like, I'm right in the mix. So, man, I didn't play well. Like, I've got to play better. Man, we're much better than this. So it's got to be a we and a me, self accountability type of thing, instead of a y'all and you did this and y'all need to do this better. Like, that's not it. So that's where I see a lot of kids struggle, is they try to lead and they try to be vocal, but it's more of a blame type of leadership. Like, no, let's don't blame. Coach Tommy Chambers, saw him this weekend, and is old saying, but when you point one finger at somebody else, you got three more coming back at you. And I know, it's an old saying, but it's very true. So it's bringing everybody together, making sure that you're leading by example and do it in your way, make it authentic. But it's got to start with self accountability and make sure that that individual is doing his job and he's, putting the blame on him as well. Because I think guys and people gravitate to that more when they see somebody more of a humble standpoint. Like, man, he knows he messed up and he's out there front admitting it. So if he can admit it and he can own up to it, then I can do that same thing.
And I think so much of what I'm talking about and what you're referring to for leadership wise, we don't even get a chance to see it. Okay, yeah, we get to see you for a couple hours on a Friday night, and we might see some guys, out there that they look like they're leading the way, but this is the weight room that you talked
it's
about.
everything.
This is the film sessions. This is the professionally developed practices that they were going through, like we did, like we talked about earlier today. That's where true leadership lies.
Yeah, it is. It's Friday night is just a reflection of everything you did Monday through Thursday. So if you're one that's drag tail in practice and you've had a bad attitude, but then on Friday you want to try to lead, nobody's going to respect.
Too
that.
late. Yep.
No, it's like today we're running gassers at the end, and and we get to the last. I'd say, hey, all right, this is the last one. And then some of the guys that have been in the back the whole time, now all of a sudden they're the fastest two out, and they're out in front. And that all looks good, but where were you the previous 4 or 5 gassers? Like, why weren't you giving that same effort? So there's just has to be consistency and authenticity with that leadership, and making sure that you're leading from right there within the pack, and that's how you gain respect of your peers.
We got plenty more coming up here on the Coaches Show. For now, let's get into the Bulldog Bark and our player spotlight.
Hi, I'm Keith Hunter, and this is the Bulldog Bark. And joining me from the class of 1998, I've got Jeff Watson. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing well.
Jeff, now you played football back in 1998. We were talking off camera, and you played for 3 different coaches,
Correct.
3 different football systems,
Correct.
right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to focus on that, all right? We'll start out with Coach Pittman. What was it like playing for Coach Pittman?
It was tough.
Was it tough?
It was tough, but when you made it through the tough, you were ready for Friday night.
Right. Now, you played in Coach Pittman's last year, and Coach Pittman didn't win the state championship that year, right?
That's correct. We were the most talented football team to not win a state championship.
Right. And now I was going to ask you, playing for Coach Pittman and 4 straight championships, what was it like? Was there pressure to try to repeat that success that they had in future, in the past?
Yeah, the expectation every year was to win a state championship. That was just that was the standard. That was the expectation.
Right. But let me ask you, how was it playing with that pressure, though?
Well, you knew growing up in Swanee that was the expectation. So we put that pressure on us as much as the coaches did, because nobody wanted to be the guys that come through and didn't win one.
Right. Well, how did it feel when you guys did not win? Now, what about the 1997, your junior year?
We had a new coach. Coach Paul Andrew took over, and I think we wound up with around 20 or 22 guys total on the football team. And we dealt with a lot of injuries.
Right.
We came out and won the preseason kickoff classic against Gainesville Eastside. We beat them pretty bad. And we had some injuries and came out and didn't win another game the rest of the year. We went from 14-2 to 0-10.
Wow. I guess that That's a little humble pie there, isn't it?
That's a humbling
Yes,
experience.
it is. But Coach Landry, speaking of Coach Landry was a position coach when I played. And he was also one of my teachers, I think in 10th grade or ninth grade biology or something. But I'm talking about one of the smartest, probably, people I've ever met in my entire life.
He was my offensive line coach,
Right.
and he had me prepared to play football every time. There were no surprises on the football field when you got prepared by Paul Landry.
Did he smile at all?
No, he didn't smile.
Yeah, I haven't seen Coach Landry. I never saw him smile, but he was. I mean, Coach Landry was an awesome coach, an awesome guy, really. When you got to know him,
I love Coach Landry.
right? Yeah, yeah, definitely. You would know that. Hey, he would do anything for you.
Yep, he was one of my favorite coaches.
Right, and then of course Coach Wall comes around. How was it like when you made the transition from Coach Landry to Coach Jay Walls?
So he was completely different than
Right.
Coach Pittman and Coach Landry. Coach Landry was one of Coach Pittman's guys,
Right,
and the intensity and everything was really the a lot of the feel was the same with Coach Landry,
right,
other than running a different offense. Coach Walls came in and it was, we went 0-10. We had to rebuild it.
right, right. Now, he did a great job rebuilding it because he eventually went to the state championship game.
And we went from 0-10 to turning it back around and making the playoffs. And
Right, yeah,
1997 was my last year playing.
right. Yeah, well, Coach Walls, and what was it like? Like I said, you played for Pittman in the pro set, Coach Landry in the wing T, and then you go to Coach Walls. Uh, you get a lot more pulling when you play with Coach Walls, right?
Yeah, we ran a pro set, but
Okay.
we did pull the guards a lot.
Right.
And it was good to be in that offense, to be that heavily involved in it, getting out on the edge and leading for the running backs, and then pulling inside on these big guys and moving them out of the way too. It was a lot of fun.
What other sport did you play besides football?
I was on the track team.
The 440 relay?
I was one of the sprinters anchoring the 4x1. I threw the shot put and the discus.
Well, look at here now. I understand. And did you place any regional or district or state championships or anything?
I went to the regionals as a senior. I placed second in districts, and then as a senior, I made it to the regionals, but didn't advance on past the regionals.
Okay. And would you say, now going back to your football experience, did any of that prepare you for your success in track and field?
Well, it was a great opportunity for the coaches to tell us to go out there and throw the shot put and discus, and we
Right.
do that for a little bit. And they tell us to go get in the weight room.
Right.
So we'd use that time to get stronger, and stronger you are in football, the better, especially when you're a lineman.
Right. But I mean, but as far from a discipline standpoint, did the football prepare you for being more disciplined in track and field?
Oh yeah, we had work to do,
Right.
and you had to get the job done, be ready to go perform.
Right.
Track was a little different than football, obviously, but when you step out there, you want to perform, especially when you're wearing that green S on your chest.
Right. Now, speaking of the Green S, I understand you got two boys who also played for the Bulldogs.
I've got two boys.
They're playing now.
Hunter and Kyler. Hunter is a senior this year. He's coming off an ACL injury from last year, and Kyler is a rising junior. And they both play football, and they both play baseball for Swanee High.
What's more nerve-wracking, when you played or when watching your kids play?
Watching my kids,
I know it.
100%.
Fingernails? You biting off your fingernails?
Oh
and
yeah,
everything?
yeah. When they get out there, it's I'm way more intense
Right.
watching them than I was when I played.
Right. Okay. I understand that, man. Yeah. But definitely, anything you're doing now, coaching, or what are you doing now in the community?
So I'm the president of the quarterback club. So we obviously support the football program
Right.
and try to do everything we can to make sure that these players have the best playing experience possible when they come to Swanee High School.
All right. And will you remember the quarterback club even before becoming president?
Absolutely. I remember the quarterback club all the way back to when I played.
Well, okay. Well, my brother-in-law is Clifford.
Mr. Gwynn, he was a treasurer there for a long time.
Yes, sir.
He's one of the foundational pieces of the quarterback
Right.
club for a very, very long time.
Yes, sir.
We miss having him in our meetings.
Right. And then the president was
Jim Daniels.
Jim Daniels. Yeah, nothing like Jim. But
I think those two were on the board when I played football.
right.
And Mr. Jim was president way back then, and I took over as a president of the quarterback club from Jim Daniels.
Right. Okay. And did you learn anything from them as you go forward, and do you apply any of your football toward your position in the quarterback club?
Well, the biggest thing is I know I coached with Coach Hall in Tallahassee at
Right.
McClay High School before
Right.
I moved back over this way. I know it takes a lot.
Right.
The coaches, the players, there's a lot. There's lots of expectations, and you have the standard here for what it means to be a Bulldog. And we want to make sure that the coaches and the players have absolutely everything they need to be as successful as they can while they're here at Swanee High School.
Right. Well, I can tell you one thing. What I've surmised from this interview is that you bleed. If I cut you right now, it'll probably bleed green and gold.
I live in Lake City.
Well, that's okay. That's
There
okay.
ain't no way I was going to send my boys to school in Lake City.
Right. I
They're
understand.
Bulldogs.
Well, that was
I'm a Bulldog.
right. Well, that's probably the number one greatest decision you ever made.
Absolutely.
At least I'm pretty sure that Kyler Hall feels that way.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Jeff, look, man, I want to thank you for joining me on the Bulldog Bark. And look here, man. We're gonna be looking for some great things. If I pass by and see you in the stand, you'll be in the stands, right?
I will be.
I'll look for that guy that's in there biting his fingernails while his kids are out there shining.
Yeah, I'll be a little nervous. Not as nervous
Right.
when they're out there as I have been. I've kind of settled down a little bit, but especially when they play baseball and they get up there
Right.
on the mound pitching, I'm pacing back and forth.
Right. I think in baseball you have more time to be nervous as
Yes.
opposed to football. It's fast action and
Yes.
everything. All right. Well, Jeff, look, man, I want to thank you
Thank you.
for joining me on the Bulldog Bark.
Thank you, sir.
You've been listening to a Bulldog Bark. I'm Keith Hunter.
It's Player Spotlight, halftime here at the Bulldog football game on rivercountrysports.com. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, in the Player Spotlight tonight, we've got a couple of big boys here. We've got Blaine and Brody. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah.
No complaints.
How have things been in the trenches? We looking pretty good this year? A little more depth, maybe?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
A
we're
lot of
doing good.
experience up front.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Okay. And you guys are senior leaders this year. How does it feel coming into your senior season?
It feels great.
It feels good. I'm nervous. you
Yeah,
know.
nervous.
Yeah.
So last year, did we got a way to go out, give our full potential that we got?
Yeah, bro, this is the last go around. I mean, you're only in high school one time, so hopefully this will be a special year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You feel like it's going to be a special year?
Yes, sir. It's going to be a special. We're going to make it the best one.
I'm not putting any pressure on you guys, but I would love to see a win over Columbia High this year. I would love to beat Madison this year, if it's all right with you.
Oh, yeah.
God
no.
be. I'm still aggravated about last year playing those guys twice and 2 games we should have won, but
No, those are revenge games for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
You get more fired up depending on the opponent, or is it just another game to you guys?
it's definitely more fired up against like a certain team. Like
Against a rival.
Columbia, we get
The rivalry games, we're definitely more motivated and have a goal not just to win the game, but to beat them.
Yeah.
It's like a that makes sense.
Looking back at last year, it seemed that the Columbia game, if we could have just scored early, it would have turned that whole game around and been a different ball game. But I feel like the offense is a lot more further along than it was at the beginning of last year.
yes, sir.
We were moving people around, especially on the offensive line. Nobody played the same position that they did the previous game, and it was inconsistent, and then that throws everything off.
Yeah. We didn't have the passing game where it needed to be at that point of the year. It got so much better as the year went on.
Oh, yeah. This year, our pass game is not to, like, talk ourselves up, but our pass game's good.
The biggest thing is getting everybody healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
Thomas Sykes has to be healthy. Guys up front have to be healthy. Coming into the season, I understand we have a few kids banged up, but overall looking pretty good. A little more depth this year, so
Yes, sir.
that's going to help.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Yeah. So as far as the weight room and your preparation for this season, how have you guys looked in the weight room? Have you hit any personal bests or anything?
Oh yeah, we definitely doing good. Our offensive line's leading because we have a board. They're leading the board. We're top 5 in clean bench and squat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came in with like an injury, so like the first few weeks of summer, wasn't able to get in the weight room as early as the rest of the guys. So I've just been slowly working myself back up.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're 100% at this point?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there?
I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, you got the toughest job, in football. Let's face it. You're down in the trenches, and you're battling every single play. And without you guys, though, nothing works.
Yes, sir.
So, offensive side of the ball or defensive side of the ball, if you could choose.
Offense.
Offense.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
You didn't even hesitate.
No.
Yeah. So, what do you prefer? You like run blocking? You like pass blocking?
Our pass
Pulling?
pro this year is like the best I've experienced. Like been here since freshman year. Like even practice against because I would have like one-on-one. So the first defensive line versus the first offensive line, like we just the way we know how each other plays, like it's just it all meshes together perfectly.
And that's a key. I mean, working cohesively, you know,
Yeah.
and being on the same page and being a senior, having played together all these years, that's got to pay off.
That's such an advantage because we all know how each other play. We got certain calls to, like, if there's a backer coming down, we really don't even have to echo it. We've all been playing. We've all been together since freshman year, so we all know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even have to say anything, and we know immediately what to do.
And communication is key. I mean, you guys, you know, if you see something, say something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any style of defense that it kind of throws you? I mean, you know, you know where because it's not like, you know, in Pee Wee football, you're lined up and the guy in front of you. It's a one-on-one football. Here you got to watch out for stunts, for blitzes.
Yeah.
I mean, different things coming at you.
Definitely just keeping your eyes open. Never just, you know.
I feel like it's hardest to block an undisciplined defense because then they'll send two people in the same gap, and it's hard to account for that. So if we have a defense that's not very disciplined, then it gets challenging our end, but Coach Gaddy, we can trust him that he's going to find something to trick them up with.
As far as heading into your senior seasons, what do you look like academically? You're both on pace to graduate. Is this going to be a light year for you, or you got a bunch of work to do in the classroom?
I got a full schedule. You know, I'm trying to get to play the next level, so I got extra classes I got to pick up. So.
But where are you looking? Have you thought about where you might want to go, or does it matter?
It don't matter. I just
take a ride anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could choose your dream school,
Florida.
Florida,
yeah.
Yes, sir. I got a full schedule as well. I've already been on a visit to Jacksonville University and looking at their NROTC program over there. So my goal after high school is do that and then commission as an officer in the Navy and be a pilot.
No kidding.
So.
All right. I was in the Navy, but I was not a pilot.
Yes, sir.
But that'd be great, man.
Yeah, I'm the commanding officer here at our NJROTC program.
That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, God bless you. I mean, that's great. Guys like you is what makes this country strong. So no doubt about that, man. Appreciate it. Well, listen, you guys, I appreciate you talking to me, and I want to wish you a world of success, not only this year, but in your futures. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody you want to say shout out to before I let you go?
Just family and coaches and friends.
And mom and dad. I couldn't do it without you.
Go Dogs. Player Spotlight on rivercountrysports.com.
And welcome back here to the Coach's Show. Coach Hall, thank you for your time as always. This game is just another step in a long season. You know, we got plenty coming up here. So what is your message to your team about just trying to build consistency week in and week out and just trying to get that growth as a team?
Yeah, it is. Like I said, we're just getting started early in the year. Everything's still out in front of us. District play is still ahead. We have big games still. Obviously, with this week, you know, Madison's coming up. I mean, there's so much to play for. So just getting this team to understand, all right, we took the L. We didn't play as well as we wanted to. Let's learn from it. Let's make the corrections. I mean, let's get ready for this next one. And you just have, it's like a next play mentality, good or bad. Granted, had we won the game Friday, it may have been even more challenging to come out and be ready to play and go back to practice. So regardless of what happened Friday, it's done. And we got to get ready for the next one. Then once this Friday's over, we got to get ready to go to Boot Hill, and then we got to get ready for district play. So there's no looking back. We don't have time to look back. You got to be in the present, move to the next day, and you just have to have that mentality.
Well, that was even going to kind of be part of my next line of questioning. It's like, you know, it's almost, of course, you never want to see your team lose, but this really would have been a super trap game coming off a huge win versus Columbia potentially. You know, if it would have worked out that way, to then be looking forward to going to Boot Hill and face the Madison Cowboys that
Yeah.
next week. I mean, my goodness, this really would have been, just by all definitions, a true trap game.
Yeah, for sure. Now, granted, I would have loved to have had the Oaken Bucket sitting right here on the table with us, but we didn't get it done. So now it's a big game at Lafayette, and we have to take care of business. Like it's you want to say all of them are must wins, and you got to go and get it done. But like we have to go and play well, and just because not only for the sake of going and getting it done, but we want to go into Madison, playing better, playing with confidence. We want to go into district play confident and clicking on all cylinders. We don't want to wait until week 6 and 7 until it starts to click. Like we have everything in place now to do it. So that's the big thing about putting it behind us and going out and playing this Friday night.
Coach, I imagine, as a player, of course, like I said, the last question, you never want to go through a loss. But I imagine as a player, you feel like you're obviously in way more control over what you can do to correct that next week. What with you now being a coach and going through your years at Florida State and everything that you brought with you now as a coach, what's something that kind of has carried over that you remember, like losing as a player and you want to do better? What is there anything that you can kind of do similar now with you being a coach?
Yeah, well, as I said Sunday at our coaches meeting, like this isn't like uncharted waters that we're in. Like we've been 1-0. Like we've lost Lake City before. Like we've seen adversity. Like this is my 10th year here. We've had good starts to years. We've had bad starts. We've come back. So we've seen a little bit of everything. So we can't let this one game, granted this a big atmosphere and it's Lake City, all that's fine and dandy. But you know what? Like it's done. Like there's nothing. We'll wait till next year. We'll talk about Lake City again next year. That has no weighing on our district opponents. Like doesn't matter what happened in Columbia. We can still be a district champion. We can still be a first round playoff team. So taking that analogy of man, we've been here before. But then also like as a player, especially I played defensive back. That's an area where you really have to have a short memory. Like if you give up a play, man, you're out there on the island again. You gotta have a short memory and go get it done. So it's the same thing here. Like once it's done, once you watch the film, once you've been coached and corrected, like man, keep your confidence. So you might have gotten beat deep twice last week. You may have missed a tackle. You may have missed a block. That guy may have just got the better of you all night. You still have to keep your confidence. Like, don't let your confidence be shook. Respond, continue to work, continue to hone in on your crafts, the details. And as coaches, too, we play a big part in that. And there's a fine line in correcting and getting on these guys, but also, man, encourage them, keep their confidence high.
Sure.
We want them guys to go out and play with confidence. You can see a player that plays with confidence and one that does not. And you're going to go after the one that doesn't. Because it's hard enough playing this game from a physical standpoint. But if you're out there and you're self-doubting and you're thinking about the last drive or the last play or the last week, you're going to get beat again. So, again, just some of those small lessons that you have to take from previous years, previous seasons, and apply it now. But, this is a brand new team. Some guys were here last year. We got some new pieces. So we've got to continue to gel and mold together. And the quicker we do that and the quicker these players are out in front of it, the better year we're going to have.
Coach, we know what your standing is as a coach. You always make a very difficult schedule. You always schedule very tough opponents, especially week 1 coming out the gates with Columbia Tigers. You, as a former Florida State Seminole, you are welcoming the Crimson Tide to your stadium, and then me as a Gator fan, we have Long Island University, which admittedly I did not know that was a school until we saw them on the schedule this year. So we couldn't have more opposite, I guess, games with that being said.
Yeah.
So I know as a coach, you want to get up for the big games, and you schedule big games right away. And as a player, that has to be cool coming out week 1 with a big time opponent like that instead of having Cupcake U lined up.
Yeah, and that's something. Regardless, I was watching some of the ESPN games this weekend, some of the high school games, and I believe it was Chaminade Madonna, who's always very dominant. Well, they got embarrassed on TV. Like it was 35-7, 42-7, something like that. And Chaminade was probably going to win state championship in Florida. And this team, I think, was out of was it Baltimore? I can't remember. They had the SF on the side of their helmet. So regardless of how that first week turns out, but when you play a big game right off the bat, regardless if you win or lose, like, man, we've seen a very good team like early. So we've seen a very good defense. We've seen talented receivers. We've seen an athletic quarterback. And so now when we go into Lafayette, they're not really going to show us anything from a physical standpoint that we didn't just see even against Bishop Kenny. So we've seen two very good teams early on, which is good for us. Now we want to start winning these games, but nothing should surprise us or intimidate us about going into Lafayette because we've seen it, we've played against it. But we got to go out and we got to get the job done. But I do like what we have seen. We've seen good running backs. We've seen good offensive linemen. So, and now let's go out and, again, clean up what we messed up in our mistakes these first 2 weeks, and let's go out and get it done and beat Lafayette.
Well, and you take a lot more from having a quality opponent than not having a quality opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what as a Gator fan, like, what are we going to be able to go back and say, hey, remember versus LIU, we had this or that. You're not going to take anything from that. You as a Florida State fan, as a former Florida State player, you could say, like, hey, from the Bama game, we got this, we got that. That's kind of similar to what the Bulldogs are now with Columbia. It's like, okay, we're going to learn, we're going to grow from this, and we're going to be able to lean back on these experiences and say, this isn't anything more difficult than what we have already faced this season.
Yeah, for sure. And you do that really your whole offseason program, from mat drills to Picket Lake to early mornings. Like, you have done all of these things. Why not go out and play hard and play at a high level and make plays and have fun and respond? Because you've had to respond all off season from these different situations that we put you in. Practice, I mean, you've been through the heat, like, you've been through all these things. I mean, now the fun part, man, go out and play loose and do what you're supposed to do on a Friday night. Not that it's going to be perfect and it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy by any means, but I just feel I felt we started the game much better against Columbia than we did Bishop Kenny. I thought the first quarter, night and day better. But now we've got to respond. We got to respond. We got to respond. And that's just one thing we didn't do, particularly in any phase of the game Friday. And so there's going to be some plays, some series, something bad that probably happens Friday night. It's the game of football. Doesn't matter what level or size opponent that you're playing. And Lafayette's a good team. They're gonna do some good things. But man, we've got to get to the point where we don't get shaken and we just continue to respond and play the next play.
Wrapping everything up here on the Coaches Show right after this commercial break.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Van Carpet One. For 78 years, we've been your local family-owned and operated floor covering store, and we can't wait to serve you. Let's go check out some of the stuff we've got and say hey to the guys.
Hey guys, this is Michael Van here at Van Carpet One. Wanted to show you our huge display of carpet. Got about 1,000 rolls for you that we can order. We also keep about 100 in stock that are on clearance, so please come down and give us a visit. We appreciate it.
Come in and see the largest tile collection in North Florida. Van Carpet One has every tile you could possibly imagine. If you can't find it here, they don't make it. Guys, take a look at this. This is just some of our options in waterproof vinyl plank, where we have the largest selection anywhere around here, including over 70 pallets in stock, ready to go right now. Come in and see our fantastic selection of elegant hardwood too, followed up by fantastic service that you expect from a company like Van Carpet One.
Come on in and see us.
We can't wait to serve you. And that's a boom shakalaka.
No matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there. That's why Farm Bureau Insurance has been a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
Local people, great rates, friendly service. That's the Farm Bureau Insurance promise. Farm Bureau Insurance, serving Florida for over 70 years. In Suwannee County, you'll find Farm Bureau in Branford and in Live Oak. In Branford on Drain Street, phone 935-1274. And in Live Oak on Dowling Avenue, call 362-1274. Farm Bureau Insurance.
We thank you for joining us here on the Coaches Show on rivercountrysports.com. Coach, as always, thank you for joining us here. This upcoming Friday night, we got a 7:30 kickoff. We got the Coaches Show pregame show beginning a half hour before that, so tune in to River Country Sports beginning at 7 o'clock. Thank you to Hardee's for providing our meal this evening. Coach got a delicious-looking burger.
Yeah,
And got the most of it. And,
went smash town on that burger
there
in
you
about
go.
5 minutes.
That burger
It
didn't
was
stand a
good.
chance, Coach.
Didn't chance. Fries are great. Little Diet Coke to wash it down.
Come on, man. Can't,
I'm more of a Coke guy though. Every now and then, so I need Wayne.
but
to
it was cold. It was ice cold. I saw.
It was.
Yeah.
Over in the fridge. I had to steal one out the fridge.
There you go.
I need Wayne to stock up with some regular Cokes as well.
They'll invoice you for that now. But thank you again for listening. Again, Friday night, 7:30 kickoff. Coaches show pregame show begins at 7 o'clock. SHS coaches show next Monday night at 7 o'clock. Branford High School coaches show Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We'll join Jackson and Stephen Jones as they recap this upcoming Friday night's game for Branford. For Coach Hall, I am TJ Vickers. Thank you to executive producer Tammy Neal. Thank you to streaming producer Sawyer Brooks and all that they do behind the scenes, making Coach and I look as good as we can. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.